You can...
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry for being absent for a bit. The dog prom took me out of the loop for a bit. My business has been busy. I'm so sorry. And thank you, sponsors, for your patience with me. It's just been, again, a crazy time. Speaking of sponsors.
Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a huge yard, they are the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes 5 mess-free lickable treat recipes in 2 sizes for a delightful time with your dog or dogs. Their grab-and-go pouches make warm weather fun and easy breezy. Whether you're traveling, enjoying a long walk, patio season, or family and friend gatherings, Bark Pouch's irresistible, all human-grade treats let you focus on what matters most: time with your dog or dogs and loved ones. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet.
Thank you, sponsors. Again, thank you for your patience. Really quick, speaking of Live Like Rue Foundation and the dog prom, I wanted to thank Taylor Swift indirectly, and also thank you to the donor that sent us not 1, but 2 sets of tickets that helped us raise over $100,000. It makes me tear up. If you follow Live Like Rue Foundation, please go check out all of the dog prom goodness. I wish that we could have an event in every city of everybody that supports us, because it is such a magical night. And then you add on a raffle like that where you raise over $100,000. It's remarkable. But back to my podcast. Hello, Brittney. I'm bringing you in right now. Brittney is from Foreverland Farm. So I just actually, we have granted Brittney and Foreverland Farm some money for a puppy, if you can believe it, with cancer. But I asked Brittney after we did that video if she would come on my podcast, because the work that she does is so incredible in Ohio and really beyond. If you think about it, Brittney, I'm sure you've taken animals from all over. But tell us how this all got started and what exactly you do, because it really is remarkable.
Sure. So we started Foreverland Incorporated as a nonprofit in February of 2018. Before that, I like to joke and say, like, I have been rescuing animals my whole life. But it really started when I adopted my horse, Booger. He was kind of the one that started Foreverland, and he really opened my eyes to the plight of horses. And that just eventually snowballed into seeing the need for other farmed animals to have a safe space to call their own. There is a lot of dog and cat rescues out there, but at the time, I'd not really seen a whole lot of places specifically for chickens, pigs, goats, sheep, and other, farmed animals, because they require a lot more space and, specialty care, and the shelters just aren't equipped to really handle that. So Booger started it all. And we have just grown exponentially over the last few years. Now we have over 100 animals that call Foreverland home. We are a sanctuary, so we provide care for them for the entirety of their life. And that's because a lot of our animals have come from very traumatic situations, and we believe that they, just deserve a peaceful rest of their life until the end. We also will take in high needs cases, like animals with special needs, animals with high medical care needs, um, things that other people maybe don't have the time or resources to do for them, because we believe each animal is an individual and they deserve individualized care like that.
I mean, it's remarkable, and I can't even imagine how many people have you on speed dial.
Sure.
um,
Sure.
so tell us, obviously, I think many people know about, the plight of horses. There's Dora. Dora's making a special appearance. By the way, everybody, Dora. So if you're watching the video, if you're listening to the podcast, you got to go watch the video, because I just shared a bunch of photos from Foreverland Farm, but also Dora just made an appearance, and she's absolutely adorable.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of people, hear about slaughterhouses and horses and that kind of thing. But where do most of your pleas come from? Is it from, animal controls locally? Is it from the South? Like, are you getting them from all directions? How does it? What happens here?
It really is all directions. Like, now that we're more, established, like within our community and just the rescue community at large, I get emails, phone calls, direct messages, like on social media, about animals every single day. It's either individuals, that have an animal that they can't care for any longer, or it's somebody who found an abandoned animal. Humane officers, shelters, even. We work with our local shelter here in Cincinnati. If they get a farmed animal in, like a duck, we rescued 2 ducklings from them last year that were dumped in a park, by somebody who, just left them there because I'm assuming they couldn't care for them any longer. Um, just farm animals don't have a lot of avenues for them, and it's not something that our local humane society can really accommodate. So we try to partner with them as much as we can, and with humane officers, and sometimes we'll do like the owner surrenders, but the need greatly outweighs the capacity that we have. I wish that we had more space and time and energy and funding to be able to save them all. Um, but obviously we can't do that. So a lot of what we do is also education around, just farmed animals, their care, and showing people, their personalities, because there's a lot of disconnect between humans and farmed animals, more so than, dogs and cats are companions. We think of as, loving creatures and having personalities and having relationships with them, but we're somewhat removed from chickens, we're somewhat removed from pigs, from cows. And so we really try to showcase, all of our animal stories, and hopefully build a connection, the human animal connection, so then people are making different choices in their lives, so not as many animals need to be rescued in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, are you okay? Do you need
Yes, she's like, she just ran across the thing.
I see your eyes, like it's like a tennis match.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, you got stuff going on. Yeah, I was going to mention the education part, because here in Chicago we have Safe Humane Chicago, which teaches kids, in the city, and that might not know how to treat animals and dogs and cats,
Sure.
how to humanely treat them, and that's like, all of these, fighting dogs and breeders, like that's where it starts. That education portion is so important. Even me, like I recently gave up meat, and it wasn't easy for me. I grew up in Pennsylvania in farmland, and that, I worked on a farm with a bunch of milk cows. And
Right.
it's not easy, but the feeling of, and I did another podcast with a person that helps, communicate to people how bad farms are as far as pollution and the water running off the farmland into well water, and how bad it is for the environment. That even though you may say, oh, I'm just one person, I'm not making a difference, but you are making a difference, because you are taking away now how much ever beef you would eat, in a year. So I love that education portion. I think it's so important, especially for kids. And even me as an adult, I'm 48 years old. Like I still am learning and I'm still bettering myself. I think that part is so, so important. So thank you for doing that. Do you have maybe a story, like a favorite, minus the horse that started this all, like a favorite story of just an animal that you rescued that has really made like an impact on your life?
Gosh, that's so hard because there's so many. I think, I think one of my favorite rescues of all time was one of our sheep. Her name was Agatha. And we actually lost her this year to cancer. She was in very late stages of cancer, and we caught it too late. But so her rescue story, we had gotten a phone call on like a Saturday morning. It was in late November, so it was like cold and rainy. And somebody said that there was a sheep running down the highway here in Cincinnati, so I-75. And they wanted to know if we could come and rescue her. Knowing what we know about sheep, they're not like easily caught like most animals. So we were like, okay, well, I don't know if we'll be successful, but we're going to try. So we loaded up that morning and we went with a group of volunteers to go try to find her, to locate her. And we were successful in that. And we spent literally all day trying to catch her. We could see her, but we couldn't actually like capture her to be able to transport her home. So we spent all day out in the rain, and it was getting dark. And so we had to leave, and I felt terrible having to leave her behind. But we, made the promise that we were going to come back the next day and try again. And so we did. And again, we worked all day trying to get her, and we couldn't. And it was nearing the end of the day again, and we were all getting ready to leave. So on our way back to the car, one of the other volunteers and myself were like, you know what, we're just going to walk up here on this other path that we haven't really tried, just on our way back, just to see. And so we did that. He and I did that. And him and I had gotten split up during that time because it was a heavily wooded area. It was between the highway. It was such a treacherous situation. It was the highway, a little embankment that was heavily wooded, the train tracks, and then it was the river. So she was like living in this space between the highway and the river with a train track in the middle. So very dangerous. And so he and I had gotten split up, and I'm scaling a fence, and all of a sudden I get a phone call, and he's like, I caught her. And I was like, what do you mean you caught her? And he's like, but I need help. So I rushed to where he was, and he was just on the ground, just holding her as tight as he could because she was 200 pounds and, not wanting to be caught. So he had just stayed there with her until I got to him. And then we had all of the other volunteers like rushing to us, and we finally caught her, and we got her back to the car, immediately took her to the vet. We found out later that she had been out there for months, and the animal control had been called. Everybody had been called, the police, and they were like, there's nothing we can do for her. She's just living out there now, I guess. She was severely matted. She was severely underweight, just trying to survive on her own out in the wilderness. And it was just such a relief to get her to sanctuary. And it took her a long time to want to be around and trust humans. And, I think it took like probably about a year for her to even like start really like wanting to be around us without being fearful. But it was a slow process, but it was worth it. And at the end of her life, the last few years, we would do what I called secret snack time. So after every meal, after all of the animals left the barn from dinner, she would come up and wait for me at the gate, and I would feed her like a little secret snack. And that was like a really special moment because this was a sheep that did not want anything to do with humans, was terrified of humans. And now she was, waiting to get a treat every night. And it was really special. So that is probably my favorite rescue of all time. And I just think it showcases, like that these animals deserve love and care too. If a dog had been out there on the side of the highway, people would have stopped, to save them. But because she was a sheep, everybody kind of threw their hands up and were like, oh, well, nothing we can do. And that's just not our philosophy. That's not what we believe in. Like, she's just as deserving as any other companion animal would be.
I love that. That made me like tear up. Just the little treat thing. That's
Yeah.
like amazing. That's so inspiring too.
Yeah.
So for you, with the current shelter situation, and obviously we know how brutal it is right now in the dog and cat world. Is it similar for you right now at this point?
Yeah, it is. It's easier for us than it is for, our local shelters, because there's an obligation for the shelters to take in every animal. So they're way overcrowded, over capacity, and they're just trying to do their best. We have the option to say no, which is, like it's not an easy thing to do by any means. We wish that we could say yes more often. But if we were in a position where we couldn't, I don't know what we would do. We'd be so overrun. Nobody would have any quality of life. And honestly, like the funding, isn't there for that either. So we have to really be mindful of that. We wish that we could have a bigger capacity to help more animals, and we do our best in case by case situations. But the need is ever growing, and there's a lot of limitations, for our rescue right now. Financial, being one of them. Like funding nationally has been down for nonprofits across the board. So I know a lot of people are struggling with that. And it's been tough. So we're just, focusing on what we can do for the animals we have right now, and, doing what we can to help some animals in need, like Dora. We've cut down on intakes this year. Dora's been one of them. And we've taken in a few other like high special needs animals that don't have another option. We took in a few disabled ducklings that cannot walk, that we're giving, trying to give a good quality of life to. Those are other examples of animals that people don't really see the value in, saving or trying to give them, a life. And we want to change people's minds about that.
So hold up.
Yeah.
Do these ducks have like carts, or do they just not walk around?
Yeah. So there's, one of our ducklings, Shy, she was born with leg deformities so severe that she can't walk. She's never going to be able to walk. And she does have a cart that she sits in just to get her like in an upright position, more like a sling, because she can't use like the wheels properly. So she's immobile. But she'll hang out in her wheelchair, and we also have like a little stroller that we take her around and to get enrichment. She can swim. It took her a long time to be able to learn how to swim. So we did swim lessons every day, and now she's able to swim a little bit on her own in like a shallow pool. So she still gets to enjoy stuff that, regular ducks do. It just takes a little more effort, on our part.
I mean, can I be honest? Like, you guys need a reality show. I mean, has anybody like told you this? I mean,
yes, people say that because they think my partner, who is the co-founder of Foreverland, Sawyer, and they think we're funny together. Yeah, that's him and I think that we're funny together. I don't think so, but they say that, and it is wild. Like it's just, we're always doing something kind of ridiculous, but yeah.
In a past life, I was a producer and editor. So, I mean, Illinois, Ohio, I can make trips there, maybe hire a photographer and edit this out and then get this on Netflix, because It's gold. I mean, it's gold. It's awesome. So, but seriously though, compassion fatigue is a thing. I assume for you guys can't just leave and go on vacation, every few weeks. But how do you kind of handle that? I do think, obviously in Live Like Roof Foundation, we deal with a lot of sadness because unfortunately we lose a lot of animals. But you also take in really stressful situation type animals, and then they live their best life with you and you end up losing them. But how do you deal with the compassion fatigue that comes with what you do?
Yeah, so we have, I think that our team is really probably the biggest factor in how we get through that. We have an amazing, this is gonna make me emotional. We have an amazing group of people here that really, really care and love the animals so much. And we just, during those hard times, we just all really stick together. And, our philosophy is, even if we give that animal an hour of love, an hour of peace, that is a successful rescue to us. We had one horse that we had taken in from a kill pen, who was bleeding from her nose, and we had no idea why that was happening. And so we immediately took her to the hospital and found out that she had cancer, and it had eaten her nasal cavity so severely that there was nothing that could be done for her. So we opted at that time for humane euthanasia. So technically, she never even set foot on the sanctuary property. She had just been at the hospital, but we still believe that is a successful rescue because she got out of a horrible situation and she got the ending that she deserved. So we really try to embody that. I know that it's hard to lose them. It's hard to see them suffer. But I think the greatest act of love that we could ever do for somebody is to let them go when it's their time, So that philosophy helps a little bit, but it's still sad. It's obviously very sad, and we hate losing, animals, but we really have to hold on to the good moments and what we can give.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. That support system, whether it's volunteers, your partner, your family, your friends, that have even friends that have nothing to do with what you're doing. I mean, it really is important to have those people to lift you up during those tough times. I definitely feel that for sure. This podcast could go 2 hours and I'd be so immersed in what we're saying. But I will wrap it up. Obviously, even with Live Like Roof Foundation, money is the biggest thing that you need. I assume, if people are in Southern Ohio, you have volunteer spots open. Do you have a wish list or supplies that you need to?
Yeah, so we have new volunteer orientation the first Saturday of every month from 10 to 1. So if anybody's ever interested in coming to volunteer, we have an Amazon and Chewy wish list of things that we need all the time. Chewy's more food and medicine and stuff that we use all the time. Amazon is sometimes fun stuff for the animals, beds and things like that. Yeah, and then we just have our regular donation links, on our website.
Awesome. And I know you have a great social media following. I was looking at it, which always helps. Although recently with social media, it's you have to pay to get anybody to see anything or have 1 million people comment on it, which is annoying. So please, for anybody out there, obviously we're doing our part now. Now Brittney has me on speed dial because if she gets an animal with cancer, we're helping. So
I'm calling you. Yeah.
I will always help you guys. Thank you, Brittney, for everything you do. We really appreciate it. And thanks for joining me. I mean, honestly, I feel like maybe in a few months we should do a little update. We'll have a Dora update.
Sure.
We can do even a deeper dive podcast. But thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Brittney, everybody, we really appreciate her joining us. And whoopsie, here we go. Sorry, I'm coming back. I'll do an edit there. Supporting sponsors, you're up.
Thank you so much to our supporting sponsors. Give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card from Kimberly King and Photography. For more details, please visit her website at KimberlyKingan.com or contact her directly at her email, Kimberly@KimberlyKingan.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit theK9PT.com. That's THEK9PT.com. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Check out Anything is Plausible. Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, investors, give Liz a call. She can lend in all 50 states. NMLS number 224526.
Thank you, Brittney, for joining me. Foreverlandfarm.org. We're going to do that documentary. All the wheels are spinning. We are going to do it. See you guys next week.